There's a word that terrifies Americans more than almost anything else. A word that politicians use to kill any policy they don't like. A word that's been turned into a weapon. Socialism. The Netherlands uses many of the policies Americans call socialist. And we're not collapsing, we're thriving. This is a story about what happens when a country actually decides to take care of its people. Hey, hoi, welcome to the Dutch door. Kom maar in. Ga je mee? 1944, the hunger winter. The Netherlands was starving. The last months of the war. German blockades cut off food and fuel to the western cities. People starved. More than 20,000 died. An entire generation saw what happens when government fails its people. So when peace came, the Dutch made a decision. Never again. Never again would survival depend on luck or privilege. A man named Wim Drees became prime minister in 1948, and he created something remarkable. A system built on cooperation between labor and business, between government and citizens. It wasn't socialism and it wasn't pure capitalism. It was something in between, a mixed economy. I call it socio-capitalism because in Spanish, socio means member. It comes from the Latin word socius, meaning companion or associate. You're part of the system, not left outside of it. Farmers, workers, employers, and government all literally sat at the same table. This is where the polder model was born. The word polder comes from reclaimed land, where everyone has to work together to keep the water out. The polder model is about cooperation instead of conflict. Unions, employers, and government solve problems together so everyone benefits. Workers gain fair pay, healthcare, education, and security. Businesses gain stability, productivity, and a strong economy. It's not really about ideology, it's just practical. Other prime ministers came along, Joop den Uyl, Wim Kok, and they didn't rip it apart like each new American president does. They improved it, strengthened it. Den Uyl expanded social housing and education. Wim Kok modernized the economy, but kept the protections. Each one passed the baton, not to destroy what came before, but to build on it. When the economy hit trouble in the 1990s, Prime Minister Wim Kok strengthened the social system and made the economy more competitive. I know that all sounds really nice, but what does it actually mean? People could work part-time and still live decently. Women had options. Education was affordable. Healthcare wasn't free, but it was fair, subsidized, efficient, and accessible. You could see a doctor without risking bankruptcy. University might cost a little, but not €20,000 a year. Students could study, graduate without debt, and actually build a life. And yes, the cost of living has gone up here too, as it has everywhere. But people aren't being thrown out of their homes. They aren't being deported for being born to the wrong parents. Even with debates about migration, the Netherlands isn't counting how many people to expel per day. And despite its size, this small, soggy country built on mud and windmills, it leads the world in water management, renewable energy, and vertical farming. Did you know it's the second largest food exporter on the planet? A place that proves small nations can do big things when they invest in knowledge, not fear. In the US, if you even suggest that people shouldn't go bankrupt from medical bills, someone will shout, "That's socialism!" Universal healthcare? Socialism. Worker protections? Socialism. Affordable education? Socialism. A living wage? You get the idea. And in America, socialism has been twisted to mean one thing: communism, failure, Venezuela, the Soviet Union. Never mind that the Netherlands isn't any of those things. Neither are Germany, Denmark, Norway, or Sweden, all successful countries that use similar systems. Americans have been so deeply conditioned since the Cold War that they can't tell the difference between a social market economy, like the Netherlands, and authoritarian communism, which failed. They've learned to fear a word so much that they'll reject policies that could actually help them. While Americans are terrified of socialism, their country is quietly falling apart. Infrastructure is crumbling. Healthcare bankrupts families. Education is failing. Workers have no security, no protections, no safety net. And what's the solution? Deportation. Blame immigrants. Throw people out. Never mind that these are the workers the economy needs most. You can't deport your way to prosperity. American politics isn't about governing anymore. It's not about solving problems or taking care of people. It's about performance and cruelty, scapegoating, revenge and fear. They've turned politics into theater, hatred as performance, and forgotten the purpose of government, to take care of your country and your people. Meanwhile, they're creating the exact crisis they fear: worker shortages, economic instability, a collapsing social fabric, a country tearing itself apart. 45 million Americans have lost access to food assistance. A $300 million ballroom is being built while millions lose health care. Families who've lived and worked in the U.S. for decades are being deported. The political system runs on constant fundraising. Elected officials spend hours every day calling donors and attending dinners, time that could be spent actually governing. In the Netherlands, that doesn't happen. Politicians can't raise private funds. It's illegal. They legislate instead of selling promises. That single rule frees up entire work weeks to actually fix problems. When wealth and attention pile up at the top while millions lose food and medical care, that isn't democracy. That's a warning sign. The Netherlands isn't successful despite our social systems. We're successful because of them. By 2050, we plan to run on clean heat from the ground, 80 petajoules of it. Think of your 60-watt light bulb. Leave it on for an hour. That's about 200,000 joules. A petajoule is a quadrillion of those. You'd have to keep that bulb on for 500,000 years to burn through one. That's the scale of energy we're talking about when the Netherlands says it'll run on over 1,000 petajoules of renewables by 2050. 500,000 years of light bulbs, all clean power. 1 petajoule could power about 20,000 homes for a year. So 80 petajoules? That's like giving clean local heat to every home in Amsterdam. And that is just the start. We're investing billions in vertical farms that use no soil, almost no water, and zero pesticides, powered entirely by wind and solar. We're turning waste into fuel. We're redesigning products so that by 2050, nothing we make becomes garbage. That's not utopia, that's a plan in working. Because when you take care of people, when you design a system that values health, education, and stability, you get innovation for free. That's the Dutch model. We don't fight over the future, we build it.